Good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Morning to Marlene and Rennick and Jim and Jane. Hope you are well. Morning, Richard and Morag. Richard, you're not allowed to have one eye on the test match. You can only have both eyes on the test match. Good. Well, good to have everybody here. Morning, Anne. Morning, Bill. It's good to be with you all. Friends, just a couple of notices before we start. First one is grab yourself a pen and a piece of paper. So grab yourself some paper and a pen. If you don't want to use a pen or a paper, just Post-it or scrap of paper. It doesn't need to be long. It just needs to take a couple of things. That's the first notice. The second thing I wanted to do was to thank Morag and Richard for their music on Friday. It was beautiful and a joy to have you back playing. And then also to Tom and Kay Wilkie, who did the pub quiz. Morning, Margaret. Morning, Pete and Mona. And so to all those who participated in the pub quiz, well done, Nancy, for winning it again. So the next pub quiz is in 2 weeks' time, and it'd be great if you joined us. It's great fun. If you are worried about technology, just get in touch with me and I'll walk you through it. It's not that difficult. So we'll get that. Great. Then I wanted to just also say that this week on the Thought for the Day, it's going to be the moderator of the Church of Scotland that's going to be doing it. So just tune in and we'll be streaming those on the website or on Facebook. So that's for that. Then for those who are giving so generously in this time, thank you so much for all you do and for all you give. It's such a blessing that we're still able to receive some finances. So if you would like to give to the church, just pop me an email. It's jtaylor@churchofscotland.org.uk, and it goes to caring for those in our community. Then I wanted to just have a quick chat about the opening of the churches, just to let you know where we are. Some churches are opening, but we are in the process of just doing a risk assessment. As soon as that conversation is had with those who've done the risk assessment, those who are discussing things while the church is in this period, plus the quick session will let you know. My personal feeling is rather safe than sorry. The virus is definitely not under control at the moment, and so I would rather just err on the side of caution when it comes to that. I'm just going to turn this light off because it seems like I've got a shadow in my eye, so I'm just going to turn that off. Ooh. Great. Good. So that's the update on the churches. As soon as we know anything and as soon as we have information, we'll share it with you. But again, we'd rather be safe than sorry on this. Great. So friends, good to have you. For those who just joined us, a pen and a paper is needed for today's service. So if you can grab yourself a pen and a paper, and we'll go from there. So the first reading comes from Isaiah, and you'll probably know this reading quite well from Christmas. And it's Isaiah 9, verse 1 to 7. But there will be no gloom for those who were in anguish. In the former time, he brought into contempt the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali. But in the latter time, he will make glorious the way of the sea, the land beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the nations. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light, and those who lived in a land of deep darkness, on them light has shined. You have multiplied the nations, you have increased its joy. They rejoice before you, as with joy at the harvest, as people exult when dividing plunder. For the yoke of their burden and the bars across their shoulders, the rod of their oppression, you have broken as on the day of Midian. For all the boots of the trampling warriors and all the garments rolled in blood shall be burned as fuel for the fire. For a child has been born for us, a son given to us. Authority rests upon his shoulders, and he is named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. His authority shall grow continually, and there shall be endless peace for the throne of David and his kingdom. He will establish and uphold it with justice and righteousness for this time onward and forevermore. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will do this. The second reading comes from 1 Corinthians 13, and you might know it because it's often read at weddings. And it goes like this, and it's Paul writing to the Corinthians. If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have faith that can move mountains, but do not love, I'm nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and surrender my body to the flames, but have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no records of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part and we prophesy in part. But when perfection comes, the imperfect disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put childish ways behind me. Now we see but a poor reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I am known in part, then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And these three things remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. For those of you just joining us, just make sure you have a pen and a piece of paper. Doesn't have to be big. Kicked, converged, soccer. Kicked, converged, soccer. These three words saved Jess Tinsley's life. Kicked, converged, soccer. See, what happened to Jess Tinsley is she went out for a walk with her friends in a forest on a dark, wet night. And they planned to do this 5-mile route. It was a circular route through a 4,900 acre woodland of Hamstery Forest in Dunham. And after 3 hours of walking, they realized pretty quickly they were lost. It was dark, cold, and wet. And so she walked until she got a phone signal, and she dialed 999. And the first thing that the person on the other end of the phone, the operator, said to her, "Where are you?" She said, "I don't know where I am. I just know that we're lost." So the operator said, "Do you have data on your phone?" And she looked, and she was able to get some data on her phone, and she downloaded this app. And I'll show you the app now. It's this one. It's called What 3 Words. And this app, What 3 Words, what it does is it divides the earth into 3-meter squared sections. And in those 3-meter sections, each square gets 3 words. And the words for where Jess Tinsley found herself was kicked, converged, soccer. And as she repeated this back to the operator, they were able to find her on a map and get to her. Could you imagine if the app had given the GPS coordinates? The problem with GPS coordinates, I don't know if you try to read them, is that they go on forever and they mean nothing. I mean, they just go on and on, and they're easy to get muddled up. This app makes it easy by giving each section of the world 3 words that identify it. I'll show you another picture here of what that looks like. See, this is how it looks. You can see how they've divided each area into 3 meter square sections. If I said to you, let me get this off. If I said to you, Judges, here's cool, I would be standing in the pulpit of Abbott's Hall. If I said hands, horses, and hill, I would be standing on the center line of the rugby club in the Beveridge Park. And if I said revealing, slipping, always, I would be standing on the first tee of Dunkirk Golf course. And I love this app, and I saw a couple of ads for it the other day of people having their rescue stories. And it got me thinking a little bit about what happens if we could download that app, not into our phones, but if we could download it into our minds. If we could download that into the way we thought, the way we understood, how would we describe our location? Where are we in 3 words? So on your piece of paper, as quick as you can, I want you to write the 3 words that describe yourself. 3 words that describe yourself. Okay, not thinking, just going for it. Okay, you've probably got your 3 words now. I want you to have a look at them. Okay. Are they correct, or would you like to change them? Are you surprised at how quickly these words came to you? Why did you want to change them? All these questions. When I did this, I realized that initially my first 3 words were the words I'd like to be seen as. The words I like people to assume about me. So my 3 words were together, like I've got it together, strong, like I'm a strong-willed, and I'm kind of a leader. That's what I want people to see. That's the persona I want to project onto people. You know, if people think of someone who's got it together, someone who's strong-willed and got it, who's a good leader, well, I hope the first thing that pops into their mind is me. But as I got thinking about this, the question for me was, is that really a true reflection of who I am? Is that just at face value the words that I'm using? So if I could rewrite them, what 3 words describe me when no one is looking? So that's your task now. I'm going to give you a bit of time. When no one is looking, what 3 words describe you? What 3 words describe you when no one is looking? If no one was going to read this, which no one is, what 3 words describe you? When you're in private and the thoughts are running through your heads, what are the 3 words that describe you? And as I was writing these, my 3 words were this: self-conscious, insecure, and busy. It's really hard to be honest with ourselves, isn't it, when we have to go to a place and describe ourselves. We're very good at describing other things. We're very good at telling people what's wrong or what's wrong with politicians or all this kind of stuff. But when it comes to describing ourselves, it's a very difficult thing to do. And it's difficult because I think we struggle to be honest about who we are and how we see ourselves. And in Isaiah 9, verse 1 to 7, we hear Isaiah describing an event, and Isaiah plays on 4 phrases instead of 3 words, but you can forgive me a little bit here. And he says that, he says these words, and Christians, when they saw Jesus, equated these words to Jesus. And the words are Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. That's how Christians describe Jesus. And when people looked at these words, they resonated with the character of who Jesus was. Now, as I was reading this, I noticed something, is that none of these words are negative. None of these words focus on what Jesus isn't, but rather what Jesus is. It's positive, it's affirming, it's loving, it's hopeful. When I held Francis in my hands for the first time, I affirmed all he was. I remember clearly going, oh, you're daddy's boy, you're just beautiful, I love you. When I held him, there's this deep connection of just telling him what he was. That I remember holding and saying, you are made in love, by love, and for love. I didn't in that moment say, Francis, this is not what you are. This is what you aren't. I told him only positive things. I affirmed his value. So if you look at your 3 words about who you are when nobody's looking, are they positive words or are they telling you what you are not? Are they words that say who you are, that you are loved, accepted, all these kind of things? Or are they words that say, well, like mine, which were self-conscious, insecure, and busy? All those words are telling me what I'm not. And when I did this, my 3 words told me I was to be found in what I wasn't. And again, why this matters is because how we view ourselves when nobody's looking is how we live. If we think ourselves as ugly or disgusting or not good enough, or all those words, those things bubble up. Jesus spoke a little bit about your heart being where your treasure is. You could also say that how you view yourself is how you live. You know, where you put your heart, that's where you're going to find your actions going to. So if you think you're not good enough, or you think that all these negative things about you, well, you're going to live that out. It's going to bubble to the surface. And there's a simple tradition in Christianity, and it was there from the beginning to affirm what we were, not what we weren't. And that is the sacrament of baptism. In baptism, we are affirming that we are children of God, that we are valued, that we are important. It's the same as me holding Francis when I was in the hospital and saying, you are just amazing. You are made in love, by love, for love. And one of the things that we do in baptism as a congregation is that we say, remember your baptism. Remember your baptism. Because what it is trying to do there is to say to you, don't forget your deepest value. what you are, and that is a child of God. That is why in the church the font is placed in the front for us to see. When you walk into Abbots Hall, that font has pride of place in the front because people need to see it. Because when you come in, you're reminded of all that you are, not what you aren't. And in Catholic churches, they have the holy water as you leave. And it's a reminder that as you go into the world, remember who you are. Remember your deepest value. Remember what you are and not what you aren't. And this got me thinking a little bit is, where did we get this negative view from ourselves? If Jesus is initially, and the sacrament of baptism is to, at our birth and as we're young, is to affirm our worth, how did we get this understanding that we're not good enough? Where did it come from? Where did we come to a place where we are our harshest critic? That the voice inside our head seems to just believe that we're not valuable. Where did it come from? Because it didn't come from God. And so the good news, friends, is this. Your words can change. We are not trees. We are not fixed geographical locations. We can change. Our words can change, and our words can take on different meanings. I remember when I was young, I must have been about 13 or 14, I think, and a friend who I really respected, he probably in his 30s, a family friend, turned to me and said, "Justin, you're really immature." And I was indignant at the thought. I was trying to become a man. I was mature. And then I heard it again from this friend when I was 16, 17. And I was, again, it caused this anxiety and upsetness in me. That was not who I was. I was becoming a man. I was insulted that he would think that. And the idea that someone can be mature for their age, and it's really stuck with me that this idea of immaturity. And as I get older, I'm starting to embrace my immaturity a little bit more. And if someone says I'm immature, I'm not as indignant. I don't take it as an insult anymore. In fact, I take it as a positive, because I really hope, I take it as a compliment. And I hope when I'm 70 that people are still calling me immature. And the reason I believe that is because maturity, I'm starting to discover, is this ability to embrace who you fully are. That is real maturity. Maturity is this ability to look at yourself and say, this is who I am. And it's not an instant process. That's why, being 35, I'm starting to see, I'm immature. I'm still trying to embrace who I am. And I'm still trying to, and I'm still going to be trying to do that when I'm 70. It's a journey. And just because you wake up and one day all of a sudden you're a certain age doesn't make you mature. It's a process. So life is a journey about discovering what our 3 words are. Who you really are. That is a journey. And as we go on this journey of discovering who we are, we're sifting through the lies. We're sifting through the lies that we tell ourselves, and we're sifting through the lies that other people tell about us. You know, the amount of people that carry hurt and burdens, the fear that, or the understanding that they're not good enough or not lovable because somebody said that or somebody did something to that is a lie. And we have to sift through that and the damages that those lies cause. We're sifting through the hurt and the pain. You know, some of our words, some people, and I can understand this, their words will be heartbroken and anxious. For some of us, at this point in our life, our hearts are broken. Somebody might have died very close to us, and our word is heartbroken because that's where we find ourselves. But it's sifting through, it's going through those processes, it's going through those hurts and those pains that we discover who we really are. When we go through the sifting process of discovery, when we walk this journey, it's an embracing of who we are. It's about finding real maturity. Maturity is discovering who you are and living it. I can name 75-year-olds who are immature, and not because the way they act, but because they've never embraced who they fully are. And then you find an 8-year-old who's going through the whole process of saying, this is who I am, and they're mature. Just because you have an age or a number next to your age doesn't mean you're mature. And that is a journey. It's a journey to discovering who we are. Paul talks about it like this. He says, when I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put my childhood behind me. For now we only see a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall know fully, even as I am fully known. Now, I used to think that this was Paul saying, like, when I was younger, I thought bad, but I'm thinking, I think he's talking about emotional maturity here. I think he's about this embracing. And he talks about a mirror. Now, for us, a mirror is a complicated, we struggle with mirrors. Because mirrors for us have great reflection, don't they? But in the ancient world, this was what a mirror looked like. Okay, this is a mirror from Rome. And it's got a bronze bottom and a silver top. And what they used to do is they used to shine it. They used to shine the silver or the copper. And it used to give a reflection. And you'll know if you shine, you can shine your copper or your brass or your whatever at home. But it never gives you an accurate reflection. It never is the full picture. It always distorts a little bit. And I think that what Paul is saying in this is that this is to understand yourself, to see yourself, to be fully known. That is a lifelong journey. And when we are children, we talk like children. We talk about the superficial. But as we grow up, as we mature, we start to see the world differently. We start to embrace what is important and what is not important. We start to sift through things. And it's a difficult journey. And it takes a long time. And then Paul goes on a little bit later, and he does have 3 words, and he says this: faith, hope, and love. Those are his 3 words. And the greatest of these words for Paul is love. If you're looking for Paul, faith, hope, and love. Those are his 3 words. Friends, what are your 3 words? They're not something to be embarrassed about. If you wrote something down that's negative, don't be embarrassed about it. But you need to ask yourself some questions. And these are questions that I found really helpful when I was going through this exercise myself. Are these 3 words helpful? Is the way you see yourself helpful? Accurate? If God was reading your list, would God approve? Do they give life? Do they give life? Words can change. if these are not helpful words, maybe it's time to start saying, well, what words do I need to hear? What journey do I need to go on to really discover who I am? Because if I am faith, hope, and love, if I take Paul's 3 words and love is at my core and I don't feel loved, what journey do I need to go on where I can accept that word? What do I need to go on? What do I need to sift through so that I can discover that I am loved? What journey do I need to go on? I have discovered a practice. It's an Ignatian practice, but I think it applies to this as well. And it's a practice that you can try at home. And if you have time, just do it. Like once every, you can try it. Just try it and see how it gets on. Every now and then, no, maybe every month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, ask yourself this question: what are my 3 words? How am I living? What are my 3 words? Then ask yourself the next question: what 3 words would God use for me? And that's quite a difficult question, but try it. What 3 words would God say about me? And then lastly, what I would, as a daily practice, at the end of every night, just before you're going to bed, ask this: what 3 words describe how I lived today? It might open some doors. It might help on the journey. So ask the question. What are my 3 words? Do it sporadically. Ask the question: what 3 words does God say over me? How does God see me? And the last one is: what 3 words describe how I lived today? So friends, as you discover these 3 words, may you find yourself in the midst of them. May you find yourself amongst all that is going on. May you discover that God views you in love. God does not view you negatively. And may you discover that maturity, real maturity, is a journey that each one of us continues to walk. I hope you have a good week. If you need anything, if you'd like to chat, if this has rung true for you, please get in touch. We can have a conversation. It'll be good to catch up. If you're watching this on YouTube, can you give it a thumbs up at the bottom? If you're on Facebook, give it a like. It just means that the video gets shared more widely through the community. And friends, I leave you with God's blessing and God's love. And may you know that God loves you more than anything. And the blessing of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit remain with you all, now and forevermore. Amen.